Hello and welcome to today's tutorial where we're going to be doing some pen and ink. I'm going to be demonstrating this sweet little chickadee sitting on a hand, feeding on seeds. And so first I want to go over the supplies that I'll be using, and then we'll just dive right into the pen and ink tutorial. So I'm going to list all of the supplies below. If I have any affiliate links, they will be clearly marked. But really, the basic tool that you're going to need besides a pencil and eraser is going to be your choice of an inking pen. I'm going to be using this particular brand, and I don't know how to pronounce it, but Staedtler is going to be my guess on how to pronounce that. It's a pigment liner, size 1.2 is going to be the main size that you see me using. It is black, and as well, after I do the inking, I'm going to embellish today's illustration with a little bit of alcohol markers. I've picked 4, and I'll list the colors below, but essentially there's a dark natural gray, which looks almost black, but it's not quite black. And then 3 very, very light muted colors. Here, I'll show you sort of my practice go at the Chickadee with these colors. So you can see there, it's going to be some very muted tones that we're going to put into this ink. And you're going to be able to embellish it with really anything you want. You could do really light washes of watercolor or just leave it without any embellishment. You'll see me in the tutorial use the embellishments, but it's up to you. If you want to follow along and create this little birdie, you can do it however you want. I'm starting out today with some very light shapes sketched onto my page. And so I'll just kind of take you through how I got those. I essentially just sketch out the shapes of the chickadee's head being like an egg shape, and then another like egg shape that blocks in the chickadee's body, longer one for the wings that way, a long skinny one for the tail. And then for the hands are a little tricky, and I'll be popping up this creation that I make today, this pen and ink art, on the screen as a bit of a reference, so you'll be able to look and copy mine. But essentially what I'm looking for in the hand is, it is a long, skinny oval shape. This main edge of the hand is curving upwards, and then there's some little fingers tucked back there, which I'm gonna really scribble and do cross hatching in those areas. You won't really see them as defined. There's a little pile of seeds which the chickadee's little feet meet, and one foot is sitting on, the other looks like it's sitting on the hand. And then there's a distant thumb, and even if you just give the illusion of the thumb, that's really all that matters. So I'd say the really important parts of this composition and sketch are to make sure that the proportions feel about right. So you can go ahead and like block in these just simple shapes, and then from here I'm gonna start sketching a little more. Now I don't sketch in a lot of detail with the pencil because I end up doing it with the ink. But I'm going to do a little bit darker, a little bit more of a sketch, get the eye in there and such before I start with the ink. I know that I sketch very lightly with the pencil, so hopefully you can see it. So I kind of like to block in with my pencil where the chickadee cap, the black cap, is gonna be here. And like, where is that little eye? And the eye sits on sort of the bottom of the black cap, and it's kind of low. So here's the black cap. There's going to be a white highlight on top of the beak. And this little triangular section here is going to be black. So that's going to be black. It comes down to a lighter chest. What is a bird's chest called? There is a special name and I'm drawing a blank right now. Breast, little breast there, a little black. And then these, kind of giving myself indicators of where the feathers will be marked. These will be, indicators of feathers. There's gonna be a black chunk under here and a little bit darker of a feather there. There's gonna be another black chunk and shadow. And then there is a strip of little feathers that go this way that are quite dark on a chickadee. And then some dark ones coming down in here. Okay, so the rest I will grab with my ink. This has given me a good indicator. I want that pinky. This is a pinky finger right here. And I want it to look like a pinky and not just a blob. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna grab that pigment liner. I want to show you up close my top inking marks. All of us have unique mark making. I am going to be using hatching, similar to that, a little closer together with a bit of a curve. And I'm gonna also do cross hatching. You'll hear me talk in the tutorial how sometimes I push away from myself, sometimes I pull towards myself. I tend to have more control when I push away. That's a personal kind of preference for me, but I'm going to be doing cross hatching, and as well I'm going to be doing a lot of little scribbles. And these little scribbles I keep very loose. I hold my pen very loose, and I sort of scribble and do little markings like that. And areas where I really have to block in, I will go back and forth like I'm coloring with a crayon. And then I will let it be scribbly and add some hatching. And I kind of go back and forth between hatches, cross hatches, scribbles, and blocking. And I'll start inking in. And areas that have a lot of black, it's like I'm gonna almost be coloring with this marker. Now, there is another option. If I don't wanna color with this marker, I could take the chisel edge of my alcohol marker. I'll just demonstrate here for a minute, and I could just block in some of the real solid areas of black. And I could go through and do that just to sort of save time from coloring with something that's somewhat fine point. But I also really enjoy the process of this ink pen, and so I don't mind coloring it in. And it depends on the paper you're using, because alcohol markers are, they bleed through, so you've got to really have the marker paper ready to go. And I can't even tell you why I just started with the eye. I find that when it comes to pen and ink, I have developed my own way, and I call it dancing. My pen is just literally dancing on the paper, and I don't have a rhyme or reason to where I actually start, and it just came to me. I just went for that eye, and to be honest, I'm not sure that that's the place that I should have started because the eye holds so much character, and I probably should have come in to the eye a little bit later, but I kind of intuitively start doing things on the paper, which has definitely led me into what, let's call it, messing up. I also have my own, I guess, way of cross-hatching, this sort of cross between cross-hatching and scribble art. So you'll see on my channel, I have quite a few scribble art tutorials, and I love to scribble. I find it freeing. I find it loosens us up, but I also love the way that cross hatching and some traditional sketching strokes and techniques, they have a way of helping us draw form. For example, I want this little head to show round, so like getting these strokes that are flowing with the shape of the head, that is so beneficial. So like I do this sort of like cross between cross hatching and scribble. And also sometimes I make the hatches away from me. And I don't know, if that is a way it is like taught ever, but for me, if I hatch away from me, I seem to have like a smoother line. Sometimes when I start farthest away and come towards me, I go a little oddly crooked. And so I just began to teach myself like this, but it's okay because I'm beginning in a black darkened area of dark values. So it doesn't seem, my messy beginning there doesn't seem to show. But, and I guess also if it's a shorter hatch stroke, I can come towards myself and not have it be like a total crooked line. But what I find is that if I hatch away from myself, there seems to be another level of control and that little line tapers. And so it's something I've been practicing, just kind of like working on my hatch lines. I'm going to do some really long ones here to kind of make this tail loose and free. And as you can tell, I'm really dancing around the page, having fun. There seems to be at times no rhyme or reason, but there is rhyme or reason to how my eyes are seeing things. I'll spend a little time on the wing, and then I'll know, okay, it's time to sort of move on to the bird's breast. So there's these feathers that I want to do where I really emphasize a few dark ones coming down like this. And so kind of color those in like that, and then get some long ones in here. And this is where I add a few scribbles. I like to loosen up edges with scribbles. And then I want to get like a nice dark chunk right under this wing so that it's not only forming a shadow, but a nice strong edge. And this will emphasize again. See, that's an example of one of my messy hatches, so I'll come going that way again. I don't know, so there's something real straight that I'm seeing here, like my chickadees are really straight. And so I just feel like I need to round that wing a bit. And I'll kind of scribble in. I won't overdo it, but I felt like I needed, some more shape there. Okay, so let's begin the chickadee claws, little feet. Okay, I'm going to mostly do the outline, soft, gentle outline strokes of this hand, and then we will emphasize areas to be more like darkened and to be like bold, but I just want to sort of just lightly sketch the edge. There are some knuckles here, and so I want to think about those knuckles. And I think of that being like the pad of a fingertip and another pad of a finger. They're disappearing. This is like the thumb, the pad of the thumb. And then I want to make some actual seeds, and we're going to color around them. We'll make one kind of pop up that way and like that. The seeds have lines in them to sort of like resemble sunflower seeds. And I'm going to scribble sort of in between the seeds to create like depth, as if there's other seeds hiding under there, and depth and shadow. I'm doing the scribbles really close together. Okay, now the back finger is going to be pretty dark in there. It's going to be in the shadow. And then along the edge of his hand, there's going to be curved hatch lines and a kind of a darker shadow on the very edge, but everything is curved. So when you see me doing hatches, whether crossed or singular, you're going to see me emphasizing the curves most of all. And that's my main goal as I'm doing the hatches. And then typically once I'm done the hatching, I'll go in and do some scribble marks to kind of like loosen it up. So I'm going to start with this sort of back, what would probably be the middle finger, and I'm going to just make that dark, and do a few hatches on this. And then here we'll do curved hatching on this finger. I'm starting with this pinky, and I'm gonna kind of like curve, and then I'm gonna start going this way. If I feel like my hatching is too far apart, I go and put some more in between, since this is like a lot meatier of a section of the hand. I'm going to make this hatch strokes longer. If they're not close enough together, I'll go back in and fill them in. And then for these, I'm going to cross over and do cross hatching. Keeping in mind it's curving, we're emphasizing curves. And then I feel like I lost the edge of that pointer, so I'm going to emphasize it. And then I start to emphasize where the knuckle creases are. And emphasizing can mean a lot of things with ink, but really I'm just darkening the lines. Okay, so now I want to emphasize this line even more so to create just that really strong edge here, which means I'm just going to sort of scribble in and double up my ink in that area. And I kind of do it like almost scribbling back and forth, like I want to say like a kid does with a crayon, but kind of color. Yeah, color with the ink and get a darker line. It can be jagged, it can be, you know, scribbly. Get a few more strong hatch-like lines that sort of break up the other hatching. Sometimes I like to throw a little dot here and there. And then along that edge, I'm just gonna almost like give some scribble marks. Now, if you feel like you lost the white of the chickadee eye, do not fear. I often go back in with a jelly roll pen and bring back out the whites. So anywhere that you want more whites, you can bring them back in. Okay, I'm liking this. I think we've got a great base of that pen and ink. So now I'm going to use the Ohuhu alcohol markers, and they don't have to be the Ohuhu brand. See my other videos for why I like this brand and a little bit about my journey of, you know, what led me to buy these ones in specifically. I'm gonna put aside this dark neutral gray because I'm not using it like I thought I would. I did demo in the beginning how I use it. But these three colors, very, very light colors, two of them, well, they're all grays. One's a warm gray, a neutral gray, and a blue gray. And basically I'm gonna use the chisel edge of the marker, and I'm going to use that to get in and around with this blue gray. I'm going to get in and around like it's a bit of a background. And then the warm gray is going to create, so chickadees have a little bit of a warm, very light warm brown underneath their wing and on their breast. And I'm going to use that to sort of indicate, the warm gray is going to indicate that. And then the natural gray is going to indicate just some other color feathers. And so really, I'm just using my eye and discretion at creating a painterly feel to this, emphasizing around the hand with this kind of background color. I'm going to avoid going around the bird. I'm just going to emphasize the hand. I have gone around the bird in a couple of my practice pieces and I didn't love it. And that's it. That's it. It's so easy. And then with the warm gray chisel edge, I'm going to emphasize a little bit of the hand in warm gray, keeping in mind the light will be coming down on the hand. So I only want to use this in areas that we would consider shadowy areas of the hand. Because we want the white of the paper to be the light on the hand. So then I'm gonna go under, as I mentioned, chickadees have sort of like these warm brown feathers under here. And I'm also using this light color to act as a bit of a blender. It makes the transition between the white of the paper and the dark black ink to sort of, transition nice. And then we're gonna move to a neutral gray, same chisel tip. And this will indicate, like, it actually kind of appears a little more bluey. And it's just gonna indicate that cool tone that is found in bird feathers, especially if it's cold out. So I'm going to indicate a few spots on the chickadee. Maybe I'll even come under the hand a little with this one. It cools it down. And then I actually think I want to shade some of these seeds. How simple is that? Now I'm gonna go in with Jelly Roll and get the light back in my birdie's eye and a little bit of life around the eye. And if for any reason, like I'm kind of like looking, I'm gonna zoom in for you so you can see the eye, but I'm looking and feeling like maybe I just have like too many straight lines, and like this one that I had done earlier has a lot more like little flecks and looseness, and I just want to loosen up my ink a little more and create a little bit more character with the ink. So I'm just gonna go in and do that, and that's just a matter of tiny little enhancements. Like for example, I mean, it seems like a tiny thing to do, but do you see these little feathery marks coming out and around the beak? Makes a big difference. So I'm gonna do that right now. I'm gonna just come and do these little, almost like bringing out personality of my chickadee. Some loose feathers here or there. And just loosen it up. Some tiny little markings that you might not think are a big deal, but they give it such personality. And then after I do all those little personality markings, my chickadee is done. Now in my own journal, I partnered my chickadee with a Bible verse. This is sort of like my 2025 Bible verse journal. And then you could also just do like a poem or something. A lot of times I'll just like make little phrases or poems inside of my sketchbooks that remind me kind of what I was thinking that day. And I will say that this chickadee, and one of the main reasons that I wanted to show this tutorial on YouTube, was it's been a vision or a symbolism that has come to me several times over the years, where I really see it speaking provision, safety, and being known and seen. And this little chickadee represents me. The hand represents the hand of God, friendly, providing, and loving, and trustworthy. And I like to partner this with Matthew 10:29-31. The little part of it that says, "You are more valuable to God than a whole flock of sparrows." And later before that in Psalms, it says, "I know every bird in the mountains and the insects in the fields are mine." And I think about that as like even just a tiny little bird is seen and known and loved by God. And so how much more are we? And so that's been a symbol for me for many years, but really came back to me strong in 2025. And so I hope that you enjoyed watching me demo this, and that I've shown enough tricks and tips with the ink and possibly the alcohol markers. Remember, you can use anything, but that I've shown enough tricks and tips that you might be able to attempt this yourself. And from what I put into the reference that I've been putting up onto the screen, hopefully it's helped you to see the shape of the hand, and that you could attempt it and feel successful at this little chickadee on the hand pen and ink tutorial. Thanks so much for joining me here today. If you have loved or liked this video, hit that little thumbs up and share, subscribe, hit the bell for the notifications, and check out the channel for other tutorials. I've been showing a lot of marker tutorials lately, but there's everything from scribble art to some acrylics. I'm an illustrator and author of children's books. And this is my channel where I show the art side, the visual art side of what I do. So I will see you around the channel. And until next time, everyone, happy creating.